At the International Medical University, we have made a science of sports performance enhancement, scholastic ability enhancement, and intellect enhancement. We're studying the ideas of concussion, brain injury. Very, very important in sports, is that so much of this has been overlooked for way too long. But once we have that concussion and there's a shifting inside the skull of the brain, you can do a host of different.
Go.
Good. Good job, Reed. Good job.
17-year-old high school junior Reed Snyderman played varsity lacrosse. He was also the U.S. Junior Olympic champion in freestyle skiing. But a freak accident in 2008 could have had serious consequences.
I was at U.S. Nationals at the end of March, and I landed my top air, which was a backflip iron cross. I was really aggressive, like charging it, because I really wanted to go for it, you know? And I ended up just kind of catching my edge and kind of flipping and hitting my head. And then being really bewildered and not really knowing what was going on.
His coach went over to him first and came back to me and said that he thought he was fine, except he might have a mild concussion.
But Reed was not fine at all.
I was really out of it. Everything's out of sync. It was really difficult for my brain to maintain a train of thought. It was definitely scary.
Almost 4 million US athletes suffer concussions every year. Many of them recover quickly, and a bang on the head is often considered part of the game. You shake it off and get back to the field as soon as possible. But for 20% of patients diagnosed with a concussion, recovery isn't so easy. Because even when it's mild, a concussion is a traumatic brain injury.
If you look at traumatic brain injury, it is the #1 cause of death and disability in young people.
Jam Gajar is a neurosurgeon at Weill Cornell Medical College in New York and an international expert in brain injuries.
90% of traumatic brain injury is concussion. And how many numbers are we talking about? There are millions.
But concussions are hard to diagnose. So if a patient has symptoms, understanding why is complicated. To demonstrate, John Torres undergoes a standard MRI. His scan is then compared to the MRI of a concussion patient.
It looks normal. They both look completely normal.
But this one's not normal.
The patient has symptoms of mild traumatic brain injury. The neurologist would tell the patient, it looks normal to me. Your CAT scan's normal, your MRI's normal. So there's something else going on.
MRIs produce images of grey matter, cells called neurons and their connections, which make up most of the surface of the brain. Grey matter is organized into specific regions, which control functions like memory, speech, movement, and coordination. But concussion doesn't usually cause much damage to the grey matter. So neurologists began searching for clues deeper within the brain, in the white matter.
The white matter makes up the sort of cables or connections between the lobes or the sections of the brain.
Those white matter connections are like telephone trunk lines. They bundle nerve cells from different areas of the brain into networks, which work together to produce and regulate thoughts and actions. But if the white matter is damaged by a concussion, the connections could get disrupted, in theory at least. Until recently, though, it was very difficult to see white matter on an MRI.
To be able to really quantify and qualify the integrity of the white matter, you need to go to a specialized sequence like the DTI or diffusion tensor imaging.
DTI, or diffusion tensor imaging, is a new way to show white matter. It uses advanced software to obtain more detailed information from an MRI image.
When we bring up the DTI, you can really clearly see where the white matter is and where the gray matter is, because on this, white is white, gray matter is gray.
It's not only the color that's important. White matter helps diffuse water through the brain cells, and that could be an important clue to what goes wrong in concussions.
And so with the DTI, all we're doing is looking at where water is, pretty much.
So if the water's not flowing well, that tells you that there's some...
If you have a leak in the pipe, we're going to be able to pick that up with the DTI. If you compare the left and the right, You can see these two tracks very clearly here, but you can see on this, you have the one on the outside and the one on the inside is disrupted.
One part of the brain's not talking to the other one because it can't make it through that area.
Right.
And that's what causes the impairment they have later on.
So what we can see here is that the effect of the CET, chronic encephalitis, from trauma, is that it is affecting the white matter. The gray matter of the brain is where we make ideas, and the white matter allows those ideas to be transferred around the brain. When people get this CET, because their ideas cannot be transferred through the white matter, they start to lose the ability to sense themselves. They get extremely angry. They get very, very frustrated. They really start to have suicide ideas. They can't contain thoughts. Ask the same question over and over again, as this affects different parts of the brain. Now we can measure this and we can see this in its electrical form. However, it's very difficult to totally diagnose. Most of the time in modern medicine, they've been using rest and palliative synthetic drugs. But what we find is that we can go through a system, electrically stimulating, if we can start with diet and teach them first off what not to eat. What not to eat. Very, very important. Then to teach them what to eat. Teach them about what type of good diets that can help build the brain. And because this affects water, by using a little bit of castor oil and some apple juice with water, we can make the water wetter and increase osmosis, as the eductor itself increases osmosis. You see, a tiny little electrical stimulation to the brain can increase the osmotic transfer, which will help the white matter to heal. So can we create a pulse with the eductor to help the people to recover faster? And what we've found in our different research is, yes, indeed, we can do this. Let's look a little bit more.
Damages. We've worked with Novak Djokovic to help fix his injuries, because what we have is a system of electro-wound healing, a system that by measuring electrical flow in and electrical flow out, we can see where the injured tissue is, and by determining what type of electrical energy we can send in, we can actually stimulate repair and healing, electro-wound healing of that injury. Now here we have a case of a person with some injuries, some sports injuries, that we are applying an electrochemical process. There is a magnetic energy going into the body through the cybermagnetic chair of music, and we are looking at the rebound energy of what comes back to us. Thereby we can see what part of the body, what quadrant, where the injury is, and develop an electrical force to go into that area that will help to correct and balance and help stimulate the body to rebuild. That the entire body is an electrochemical process, and by balancing the electrical flow with certain frequencies, different for each patient, different for each time, modified through an autofocus loop, we can help to maximize the healing process, all done at a very safe microcurrent level, sending electrical energies in, measuring the electrical energies back, magnetic flux through the music in, magnetic energy back, all through a process, also using natural medicines, good food, good diet, taking out the bad foods, exercise, and a whole system of natural medicine, energetic medicine, vibration medicine, to help to maximize our ability to deal with these different concussions. These concussions can be dealt with energetically to help stimulate and accelerate the repair process. Because the repair process is obviously an electrical process of stimulating the magnetic and electrical function. We have proven this, the injury and pain repair system of the SCIO, the eductor, the Indigo technology. But our new software is maximizing this with a new blend of the cybermagnetic chair and different sound frequencies, vibrational frequencies, to help us to be able to deal with the different phases of recovery and stimulate the speed of recovery, getting the player back on the field, undoing the damage of those different concussions. and helping the body and helping the entire system to restore to its health, and thereby then going further, our system is then designed to enhance performance, enhance the activity, and we produce a magnetic flux in the cybermagnetic chair to get electrical energy through the whole body, producing a healing, producing an electro wound healing, and also stimulating the body to enhance sport performance, enhance intellect performance, and the host of different published data in peer-reviewed medical journals that has been shown to prove this. As the world now starts to look into energetic and vibration medicine, we are the leaders of a technology that we started 40 years ago.
Our clinical and sports testing have proven that our device is helpful for treating injury, for treating many different types of injury, including concussion. We are fully CE registered in America as part of the clinical evaluation claims that we are able to help people with their neuromuscular re-education and to help them to regain back to the health process. If you want to know more about our system, we have an incredible library of different results. And as we work with more people, including the cybermagnetic chair, to electrically tantalize the waters of the brain, what we are going to see is that we can help the concussion patient. We can help them to rebuild. We can enhance their performance, enhance their healing capacities, and to enhance their ability to heal, their ability to recover, their ability to deal with these concussions. This is a very, very big problem for different sports, and we can help them through the system of electrostimulation known as the inductor.